Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir, it's
Yes.
visible.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So today we'll talk about all of this topic. Okay, I haven't filled out most of them, but I will complete it and will share it with you guys. Okay, so the data model is fundamental on the MVC framework, right? Model where all our data resides. Okay, in Salesforce, the data are stored in these objects. Okay, and a good example for object in Salesforce, okay, accounts or example for object. Those are like, standard objects. Let me, this is, so here, yesterday we saw this opportunities, right? And okay, I'm in my personal account. Let me go sign out. Log in to, so yesterday we saw some tabs in the system. Okay. Where is the app launcher? Can anyone identify?
9 dots.
Perfect. I'll
Sir,
go.
hello.
Yes.
I'm Subhashan.
Yes, Subhashan.
Nikita, they want to say that please check your Skype or message. They messaged you.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll check the messages. Thanks. Okay. Thank you, Subhashan. Okay. So, yeah, what were we talking? Sorry, I lost track.
App launcher.
App launcher. Thank you so much. Okay. So, and also we saw about tabs, right? So, this tab is an UI for the data that is stored in accounts. Okay. I'm just viewing all the records in the accounts object. Okay. In order to view the object details, we use the setup icon and then we have the option to edit object. Okay. When we go there, we have something called object manager that explains what this object is. What is the name of the API name of the object? Okay. And what are the features that are available in this object? So objects in Salesforce, objects are the place where we store data. Okay. So accounts where we store like, business related information, contacts where we store personal information, like, person details, like, first name, last name, phone, email address. Okay. So similarly, there are like, hundreds of objects available on Salesforce. Okay. Those predefined objects are called standard objects, which means they are already defined in the system, in the platform. Okay. Good example for standard objects, account, contact. Okay. Account is used to represent businesses. Okay. Let's take Apollo Hospitals. Okay. Let's say Apollo Hospitals have tie up with various corporates or like, various third party administrators. Do you guys know what third party administrator is? Have you guys heard about the medical insurance?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So medical insurances are provided by your like like multiple companies, right? Like Tata AIG, Reliance Insurance, Oriental, LIC. All of these companies provide medical insurances. Okay. And between hospitals and insurance companies, there are certain entities called third party administrators. Okay. They help you process claims from hospital for the patients. Okay. For example, let's take, I'm going to visit a hospital for eye checkup, right? I'm going to Apollo Hospitals in Chennai, and Riaz as a patient visits. If I have insurance, let's say I have insurance with the LIC. Okay. Now I go to the hospital. I say, okay, I have LIC insurance. I want to do a regular eye checkup, right? So Apollo Hospital will take my data and will work with a third party administrator, and they will act as an intermediate between the hospital and the insurance provider. Okay, so those are called TPAs. So in case of account, we can store all the TPA information in account, which is the business information. Okay, yesterday we talked about B2B, right? All the business related informations are stored in account. All the contacts, personal informations are stored in contact. Okay? You guys are able to understand where or what sort of information is stored in objects? That makes sense? Sure. Okay. Let's take an example of pharmacy. Okay, let's say um, we'll say Samuel. Samuel is having a pharmacy. Okay, he has customers. Where he would store his customer information, in contacts or in account?
Account. Contact. Contact.
Okay, so yeah, he for B2B accounts is where business information are stored, right? In case of B2C, Salesforce provides a special attribute in the account object called person account. Okay, for any B2C businesses, in account they can enable person account and store the customer information in account object itself. So Salesforce as a business provides flexibility. Okay, depends on B2B or B2C business process, you can make use of accounts. Okay, contact is correct. Like, there are multiple ways we can store information, but account person account also is one way where you can store your consumer informations directly in account object. Okay, so I want you guys to understand how data gets stored in objects in Salesforce. Okay, and how you can access the object. You have an option from setup menu. You can go to edit object, and inside the object, okay, we get the API name details, right? And all the other basic details of the object. Okay. How do you create a object, right? If you go to object manager, you have option to create object. Okay. Okay. So object is used to store information, right? Let's take our Apollo hospitals, right? We have to store, we agree to store hospital informations. Okay. Let me store the hospitals in account. We have to store pharmacies. Okay. I can store pharmacies in account as well, right? Because that's again a business unit. Okay. And third party administrators, we can store account, a third party administrator in accounts also. Okay. So standard objects is something that is part of your SaaS products. Custom objects are something that we create, which is specific to our org. If Salesforce creates a standard object called hospital, okay, like right now I'm just searching for hospital in my object list. There is no hospital. Okay. If as part of Health Cloud, okay, tomorrow Salesforce decides to create a standard object, okay, or creates an object, and it is part of any SaaS product. Can you guys tell some SaaS product provided by Salesforce sample? Yesterday we talked about it. SaaS products. SaaS. Okay, don't make me call names. What do we saw here?
Sales, service, marketing.
Yeah, Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, these are all
Marketing.
products, okay, from Salesforce, SaaS product. Okay. In addition to this, Salesforce provides platform where we do custom development. Okay. Now, any object which are called standard objects, these are part of a product. That's why they are called standard objects. We cannot change these objects. We cannot create a standard object. Standard object is only allocated to Salesforce. Salesforce can create standard object. Anything that we create for our use, business use, is called custom object. Okay. All we have to provide is a label and API name, object name. Okay. Let's create a what do we call? Let's create a table where we store third-party administrator information. Okay. I don't want to use account. Rather, I want to go for a separate custom object where I store third-party administrators. Okay. Or insurance companies. Let's keep it simple. Insurance companies. Okay. Okay. Store details of the insurance companies. Okay. I'll call it as company name. Okay. So here there are few fields which are provided by Salesforce. Okay. Before me going there, I want to ask you guys this simple question. Okay. Let's take this Excel. All of you guys have used Excel. Agreed? Is there any exception? People who have not seen Excel, used Excel? Farhan?
Sir.
Yes. Have you used Excel?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Um, I think I forgot the name. Okay, Sridhar, have you used Excel?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, great. So let's say if I have a list of insurance companies, okay. So let me call it as name. Can you give me the companies, insurance companies? LIC is one. Insurance companies.
Star Health.
Sorry?
Star Health Insurance.
Star Health. Perfect.
ICICI.
Tata AG.
Names. Tata AIG. Okay.
ICICI.
ICICI Lombard. One, and then we'll close.
Shriram Life Insurance.
Shriram Life Insurance. Okay, great. Thank you. So now, as you guys can see here, this is the data, right? I'll just create some company size. Okay. So I'll call it as sorry, employees count. Okay. Let's say in LIC we have 500 employees, Star Health Insurance 200, Tata AIG 400, ICICI 300, Shriram Life Insurance 100. Okay. Now this is data. If we want to store this data in Salesforce, we can store it in objects. Okay. And the whole information is altogether called object. These columns are nothing but fields. Okay. Any columns that we create are considered as fields. Okay. In Salesforce, every object that we create, Salesforce provides certain standard fields. Okay. It provides an ID and it provides created date, created by, last modified date, last modified Why? Can anyone say what we have, why we need ID?
For unique value, unique
Sir, it
record.
is a unique identifier.
Perfect. Okay. So the ID acts as a unique identifier. It's something called primary key, right? To identify your record in the data. Okay. So here each row is called record. Okay. So the whole sheet is called object. Okay. And these columns are called fields. Each row is called record. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll show the difference, but whenever we create a object in Salesforce, okay, it creates certain standard fields. Okay, let me just save this. We'll call it as Excel. Let's save. Just deleting these standard fields. Okay, I'm just creating an object. Let's call it as company name. These are certain features. We will come back to that later. Save. Okay, I'll just saved. Okay, now I created an object. If you guys can see, the difference between standard object and the custom object is there mentioned in the API name. Okay, in case of standard objects, the API names doesn't have any suffix. Okay, in case of custom objects, this insurance companies which we created now is available only in this org. How do you get Salesforce org ID? Yesterday we saw that also. How to get Salesforce org ID? Khalil Ahmed.
Yeah.
How to get Salesforce org ID?
Find your Salesforce or
Correct.
that's all.
Under company information, we have org ID, Salesforce organization ID. Okay. So every one of you, every developer account, edition that you guys have created, it has a unique org ID. Okay. So this is a server ID. Okay. And the object, the standard objects in all of your developer editions, you guys will find all these standard objects. But the custom object that we create would exist only in that org. Okay. And it is suffixed with __C in the API name. Okay. Is that clear? Like how data is stored in Salesforce and how we are like, we can create our own object to store the data that we need.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So now we had one Excel file, right? Where we say these are all the insurance companies that we have. Okay, let me upload this data to the system. Okay, so we created one object. Okay, if I go fields and relationship, so Salesforce has created some of standard fields like, ID is not mentioned here. ID is available. So you have some field called owner ID, created by ID, last modified ID. The three fields created date, last modified date, ID are not shown here, but they are available by default. Okay, I'll show it here. Okay, so all of you should know about developer console. Okay, in the setup icon, we have developer console using which we can query data from the system. Okay, I'll just open the new custom object that we built. I'm just opening this file, open. I go to objects. I search for insurance companies. This is the object. And these are all the fields that exist in the system. In the UI, I saw only 4, but in the back end, there are these many fields. System modified timestamp, created date, last modified date, ID is deleted. All of these are existing. Okay, let me just do a quick select of all the fields. Let me query. I can query using query editor. We can query the data. So there are currently 0 records in the system. I have an object. I have 0 records in the system. Okay. Yesterday, we also talked about an application which is used to process data, manipulate data, or update data, correct? Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If I don't have to manage the data, what is the point of creating an application altogether? 0, right? So we need application to be able to manage our data. Okay, now we have insurance company. Right now we have 5 insurance company as we have put in the Excel file. Okay. Okay. So in this Excel file, we have name and we just have something called employees count. Okay. Now in the system, I don't have a field for employee count. Okay. I will create one field to store the employee count. Okay. Or if you guys can come up with one more information for insurance company, which we need to store, let me know. Any suggestion? I would be happy to add it now for insurance company. What information that we could add in the insurance company?
Location.
Location. Okay, fantastic.
Policies.
Policies, will come to that. Hold on to the thought. Yes. Location is something that is directed to this. Okay, let me call it as Chennai. Star Health Insurance, we'll call it as Mumbai. Tata AG, Jamshedpur. ICICI Lombard, Delhi. Shriram Life Insurance, Trichy. Okay, so now we have another, field to be created in the system. Okay, now we have 3 fields and we have 5 records. Okay, let me add those fields in the system. So in order to create a new field, I'll just go to fields and relationship under object manager, go to the specific object, go to fields and relationship, click on new to create the field. Now we have to choose what type of field we are going to create. If I look at this Excel file, employees count, what type of field it is?
Number. Sir, number.
Perfect. Let's check for number. We have a number field. Next, we call it as employees count. Okay. And I'm just modifying the count to 4, 6, because these days there are lakhs of employees in a company. Description, number of employees in the insurance company. Okay. So we will come talk about this little later, but for now, we just create the field. I'm making it visible to all users. I'm putting it in a page layout. We'll see what page layout is. Now I have created employees count. What more field I have to create?
Sir, text.
Sorry?
We can create the text data type for location and name.
Perfect. Let's create a new location text. Okay. Text. Next. We'll call it as location. Length, I will say it as 40 characters. office location of the insurance company. Okay, so one thing I want you guys to remember, right? Always give description. Okay, this is a best practice. Okay, you need to know why you are creating a field in the system. Okay, people generally don't give description. That is very, very bad. Okay, don't do that. Please always give description. Next, I'm giving access to all users. Want this to be in the page layout. Save. So now I have added location. I have added employee count. The name we have already. There is a standard, name field provided by Salesforce. At the time of object creation, we just picked that company name. Okay. I'll come back to this again when we create a new object. Okay. So now I want to add this data to this object. Okay. So there are multiple ways we can do it. Okay. I'll share all the information in the developer console. Okay. Let's just go back and see what are all the objects. What, like, we added new fields, right? Let's go check how the new fields look. This is how it looks. It has a suffix of underscore underscore C as well. Now I have queried this. There are no record. Okay. From backend, we can create data. Okay. We have an option to insert row here. Okay. This is usually developers do. Business users don't do this. Okay. So you can do insert row, and I can give company name as we already given LIC, right? I'll give this Oriental Insurance. Okay. And I'll give employee count as 250. Location Chennai. Okay. Now I'll save rows. Owner ID cannot be blank. ID, name, query, execute, insert row, Oriental Insurance, 250, Chennai. Save rows. Okay. So earlier, since I have included owner ID in the list, system is throwing error. It cannot be blank. Okay. I just ignored it and then I added one record. If I do a refresh, system will say, hey, there is one record added. Okay. So this is one way of adding data to system. Okay. This is via backend. This is the developer's way. Okay. Business users won't do this. Don't expect them to go to find object, select the fields that they want to insert and use insert row. Okay. Let's see how we can simplify this for business users. Okay. So we have something called object. Okay. Then we have, yesterday we have seen, right, in the app launcher, we have something called tabs. So tabs is used by business users. Any object that we create, we can create a tab. Let's go to tab manager, tabs. I'm creating a custom object tab, new. I'll choose the object insurance company, description, tab for managing insurance company. Okay, next. I need to pick one. I'll just pick Castle. Next. I'll keep it default for everyone for now. Include in every app. Okay. Now I've created a tab. If I go back to the apps, okay. Now I see a tab called insurance companies. Okay. As you guys can see, Salesforce, when we created new object, it give us the facilities like new, import, all these buttons readily available for the users to utilize. Okay. Now I can use this UI to create new records in the system. Okay, now it's asking me for a company name. Let us call this Generali Insurance. Employee count 350. Location Kolkata. Save. So this is how users would be able to create records in the system. So now we have two records in the system, general insurance, Oriental insurance. So far this makes sense, how data is modeled in the system and how we are able to enter records in the system.
Yes, sir.
Cool. And like, this is called list view. Yesterday, we just had a brief view. We have the option to choose what fields we want to see. Okay. Let's say select fields to display. I want to see what location it is. I want to see the employee count. And I want to see who modified this and when. Voila. So now we have the list of insurance companies that Apollo Pharmacy handles with. Okay, this is just a simple thing. Now there is option to import. I've not used this import till now, but yeah, you can import data. Okay, now I'm saying using that import button, I'm choosing insurance companies, add new records. Where is your data located? It says the CSV. Choose CSV, choose file. Okay. Unfortunately, we have Excel file. Let me save it as CSV. File, save as a separated file, save. Okay, close, choose file, downloads, insurance company CSV, open, next. Now it says, okay, company name, employee location. This is the CSV header. This is the field in the object, company name, employees count, location. Okay, next. 3 fields mapped. There are no unmapped fields. Okay. Start import. Okay. So it has processed 5 records. If I go back to insurance companies, app launcher, view all, sales, insurance companies, go to all. Now the data which we had in Excel is loaded into the object in Salesforce. Does it make sense? Each of this is called record. LIC is a record. If you guys notice, this is the record ID, which is generated by system, which is a unique value to identify the record. Okay. We have company name, employee count, location. Does it make sense?
Sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Sir, down on doubts.
Yes.
Sir, when we import external file using CSV, what happens if that file have duplicate values?
What if it has duplicate values? Yes, that's a
We already have data, same data in system, sir. So if CSV files have duplicate data, what happens on the times?
okay. Unless we put a constraint, the data will get loaded. We have to say whether it is duplicate or not. Okay. And the way how we can say whether it is duplicate or not, under the fields and relationship, you have an option to create. Okay, when we create a text field, okay, next there is a field called unique. If you do this checkbox, the system will prevent duplicates. It won't let you insert another record with the same value. If I go with the Excel, if I try to insert let's call it as unique ID. Okay, so company 001, company 002, company 003, company 004, company 005. If I made this field unique, right? That case system won't let me insert another C005. Okay, so we have to have some unique fields to identify duplicates or avoid duplicate in the system. Make sense? Answer your question?
Oh, okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Gomati, any questions on this? How we created an object? How the
No,
data is
sir.
stored in Salesforce? Okay,
No,
good.
sir.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, I have a doubt. When we are using that record box,
When we will make
that record
this.
checkbox.
Okay, sure. So let's say let's say we are adding this company ID, right? If this is my unique way of finding, this is, okay. We talked about ID, right? Let me go back here, developer console, refresh. So we talked about this ID. Okay. Would it be possible to remember this ID for business users? It's tough. It's a 18 character ID and it is not possible, right? So we can create another, human readable unique ID, and we can just call it as company ID. And we can make this field required. If you make it required, you cannot insert a record without value in that field. Okay. So basically I can do this, and name field would be auto populated by ID, and rest all things are not required. Okay. If I make a field required, a record cannot be inserted without value in that field. This is okay. It's a system will auto populate ID field, some value here in the name field. Otherwise, it will throw an error. You cannot create without name field. So this and this are required. So if you make it required, the only expectation is system won't insert a record without a value in that field. If you have any such, requirements, any such data model, we will make certain fields required. Okay. It can be any field, like, it can be a phone field, can make it as required. It can be a date field, anything. Okay. I don't open. Okay. Azim, any questions on this? We good?
Oh, sir. It's clear.
Okay. Vaishnavi?
Sir, I have a one doubt.
Yes, Dinesh.
Sir, when you are creating a field, that time they have a one external ID checkbox now.
Yes.
That external ID checkbox is also preventing the duplicate record.
Yeah, external ID would. Okay. I'll go for that. So I'll take a text field. Next, we have external ID. So this is same as unique. So
But
this
what
is,
is the difference between that unique and external IDs? Sir? Same, both are same only. It prevent the record. Duplicate record will be prevented.
if I mark something external ID, right? Okay, this is like, not unique in Salesforce. It is an external ID. Okay, it is not unique in Salesforce. In Salesforce, I can have another duplicate value. Okay. So we generally use this external ID for migrating data from different system into Salesforce. Okay. Now we just uploaded 5 records from Excel file into the system, right? Okay. Imagine companies which are like, running for 10 years, right? If I take Apollo Hospital today, they would have at least records of like, 100 insurance companies, right? Imagine patients, how many patients they would have in lakhs, right? They would have followed a system where they would be able to identify a patient uniquely, right? And that would become external ID. This will be used primarily for like, they call it reconciling the data during migration. Okay. We make it unique in the system. This is to handle duplicates. This is to handle the value from the external system. Okay. Today I'm using MySQL in Apollo Hospital where I have 1 lakh patients. Okay. Each of this I would have given primary ID. I would have given patient ID. Okay. We could use that patient ID as external field, or we could use the primary key of the table as external ID here. Okay. I would say primary key from MySQL. And I'll define the name and that becomes external ID. So this way it helps the system to do the reconciliation of finding the records or like, mapping the records. This is used only for migration.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Dinesh.
Hi, sir.
Yes, Abdullah.
So while creating the object, it has one checkbox for the object name is start with vowel sounds. What's the need of this, and why we need to check that?
Yes. So when we create objects, like, Salesforce is a low code, no code platform. Okay. What is the meaning of low code, no code platform is most of the things you can achieve without coding. Okay. So when we say starts with a vowel, in certain standard reports templates, it will put a and before. Okay. Like, you guys know the vowel letters, right? A, E, I, O, U. If it starts with a vowel, we will put a and prefix in some of the reports or like, in some other places. Okay? That's why they just had this checkbox.
Okay, clear.
But yeah, you guys will go through all these details. Again, as I said, I'm not a teacher. I'm a mentor. I'm going to help you guys understand things, and you are going to explore everything on your own. Okay? When you explore, if you have doubts, come back to me. Good. Amina, any questions so far?
No, sir. Not answer.
Okay. Raja Suraj.
No questions, sir.
Yes. Okay, Raja. Satish,
Yes, sir.
any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, good. So I want you guys to recollect Excel. Okay. The whole sheet is object. Every column is field. Every row is a record. Okay. So this is how we refer things. Okay. When we say object, there is a name to the object. When we say fields, you would be that fields resides within the object. It doesn't exist outside the object. Okay. Insurance company is the object. Inside that we have fields which has attributes, like, you choose what type of field it is, right? Whether it is unique, external, required, right? What is the help text? All of this. Okay. So is this model so far clear? We just talked about one object, custom objects. So we talked about standard objects, we talk about custom objects. We have other type of objects in the system. Okay. Are we good with standard object, custom objects? Can we move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So let's talk about big objects. Okay, so yes, so big objects. Before big objects, I want to talk about system settings. Okay. Okay. So what are the types of memory that you guys are aware? Ruben would be the right person to answer this question. Ruben, in computer, what type of memories we have? Ruben?
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible now.
I think there are two types of memory: primary memory and secondary memory.
Okay.
Primary memory is nothing but RAM, random access memory.
Okay.
Secondary memory is what we store, like SSD, hard disk.
Okay.
Things.
SSD is solid state, right?
Solid state disk.
Disk. Okay, thought it is drive. Okay. What else secondary memory types we have?
I think EPROM, PROM, programmable read-only memory,
No,
electrically erasable.
Yeah,
What's
those are primary, right?
No, sir. No, sir. They are secondary. These are types.
Okay. So EEPROM. Okay. What about hard disks?
Hard disk is electrically erasable, unprogrammable, read-only memory. EPROM.
EEPROM. Okay. So this is hard disk.
Like CDs are a programmable read-only memory. They can be written and they can't be erased.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Uh,
What else we have? We have solid
think,
state drives.
solid
What
state is
about
the most
tapes?
significant and most used nowadays.
Correct. Tapes, magnetic tapes.
Ah,
We used to have floppy disks, right?
yes, sir. That's around 90s, 80s.
Okay. Anything else there? There is, people who are using the gaming systems, they would have heard this, like, cache memory. Like, have you heard about cache memory? It is also primary.
Yes, sir. Cache memory is the fastest memory.
Correct. It is primary, right? Is it?
Yes, sir. It's a primary.
Okay. Fair enough. Anything else did I miss?
I think, sir.
Okay. So when, like, Ruben said like primary, secondary, right? Ruben, can you explain why it is primary, why it is secondary? So that, like, it's useful for others.
For a memory is one of the things when we use computer. In primary memory is why they call it as primary. It's the datas are instructed and written and read only when the processor is processing the task. It only uh, uh, it only process it in the primary memory.
Okay.
Read only the secondary memory is for our purpose when we have to recollect or transfer things sort of that.
Correct. So secondary is used for storing, primary is used for processing. Okay. Where does that RAM comes into picture? Like BIOS or RAM, they call, right? Read only memory. I don't.
BIOS is nothing but a basic input output system.
Correct.
It is in motherboard level.
Okay.
When we come to OS install, bias is the first things we need to learn.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So that is also, I will call it as primary. Okay. Anyway, but in Salesforce terms, we don't need this. So thank you, Ruben. Thanks for the clarification. So as you guys can see, in in computers, we have memories, which are like primary, which are like secondary. Okay. And so primary is used for processing, secondary is used for storing. Okay. Even in storing, there are multiple ways we can store data. You can store it in SSD, you can store it in hard disk, you can store it in a tape, or you can store it in a CD. Like there are multiple ways, right? So in Salesforce, the way how we store the data, where we store the data is like is also critical. When we talk about custom settings, custom metadata, this data or these objects are stored in primary memory. Okay. When I say primary memory, I refer to cache. Okay. In cache memory, these two types of objects are stored. Standard custom objects are stored in your secondary memory, but it is a fastest secondary memory, like solid state, or like like basically databases, right? They are very faster to access. If it is slow, like computers would not be of much useful to us. Okay. So somewhere like this, we put a database application, and that database application will access this information. So your standard objects, custom objects are stored in the database. Okay. When we talk about big objects, external objects, right? These are like, slow memory. Like, I would say, I would not call tape, but like, slow memory like hard disk, right? The data which are stored in big objects are stored in hard disk. Okay. So the data that are stored in faster memory, standard objects, custom objects, you can retrieve it faster. But the data that is stored in big objects are like, are not retrieved faster. Okay. We don't use this for transactional processing. We used this for logging. Okay. So that like, you just store a lot of data, but you don't access them more frequently. Okay. That sort of data are stored in big objects. Does this make sense? Okay, I'll put it this way. This is custom setting, custom metadata types. This is standard objects, custom objects. And this is big objects. Okay, and external objects. Basically, external objects are not stored. They are directly retrieved from the external source system. Like, let's say if I have a MySQL database, I can create an external object and directly read data from the external system. It won't be stored in Salesforce. Okay. So far, is this clear? Okay. And Rupan, I need one more help. Okay. For in your system right now, okay, like,
Yes, sir.
yeah, cache memory or RAM, right? How
Yes,
expensive
sir.
is? Let's take 1 GB. How expensive is 1 GB?
I think 1 GB is not available today in market as
Okay, I'll give 4 GB.
4 GB. I think so. 800 is a normal thing. A
800.
DDR4.
A DDR4. Okay, let's like, okay. I believe 4 GB I bought for like some 3,000, 4,000. Okay. Anyway, so
Sir,
800.
nowadays the silicon due to there is more demand in silicon supply. So the RAM SSDs have become cheap nowadays.
Okay, that is good. So at least 4 GB is 800 rupees. What is the
Yes.
solid state drive cost?
I think 1 TB is around 8,000. 1 TB SSD is 8,000
Okay.
NVMe.
Hard disk?
Hard disk, I think 4,500.
Okay, I'll say 4,000.
With data recovery, we can buy it for 6,000.
Okay. For now, I don't want to go for data recovery. This is just for example to them. Thank you, Rupan. So as you guys can see, if I say 1 TB is 8,000 rupees, which means 1 GB is only 80 rupees. Okay. Here 1 GB is 45. Okay. So here, if I say 1 GB, what is the cost? It's 200 rupees. Okay. You can see the difference, the price difference. Like, in solid state, 1 GB, we get it for 80 rupees. But when it comes to RAM or cache, it is very expensive, like 4 times costlier, right? So whenever we store data in custom settings, custom metadata, we have to be very cautious because these are expensive memory. Okay. When we store data in standard object, big objects, that is okay. Like, you can store GBs of data, right? And when we talk about big objects, it is still cheaper, where like, you store your logs, you store your transaction history, all of those things in the big objects. So because of the cost, you have to be very cautious on what you are choosing, like, what sort of data is getting stored in these objects. Okay. You cannot just blindly go create insurance companies in custom settings or custom metadata, right? It will eat up all your cache memory and you have to pay a lot of money. So you choose your, location where you're going to store the data, which type of object you're going to store the data accordingly. Okay. A good example for storing something in custom settings, custom metadata, if there are some, simple rules to be checked for every, patient onboarding or every claim request, right, to the insurance company, or some sort of like, quickly accessible information, and that would be stored in custom settings, custom metadata. Okay. Generally, all information are stored in custom objects. Logs, histories are stored in big objects. Okay. Is that view clear? So this is how we store data in Salesforce. I want you guys to be very clear on all of this. Basically, this object, external object, we don't store data. So all clear? Custom objects, how we store data in the system?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Abdullah. Okay. Vignesh, any questions on this so far?
No, sir. It's clear.
Great. Thank you, Vignesh. Okay. Okay. Unfortunately, I didn't complete all the documentation. So I'll just go through the process. So when we just had a quick glance of fields, right? You can go to the object, search for any object. Inside that you create fields. And these are the type of fields. I would let you guys like, go through this. Like, anyway, next week onwards, I'll give activities using which you can practice all of this, or like, you would be able to modify the fields, create new fields in the products that we are going to work. Okay. I'll let you guys go through this and get back to me in case of any questions. So you have developer edition, go play around and come back. Okay. In fields, okay. Okay. Two things that we need to be very cautious of is the record type and the relationships. Okay, let's talk about record types. We have a special uh, feature in Salesforce, okay, which is called record types. Okay, let's say we have account object. Okay, right now account, there are no record types. Okay, in account, when we talked about Apollo hospitals, what sort of data that we talked? You guys provided some data sources, data. basis. Right? Patient. What else we store? You guys gave me the list earlier. Patient database, we spoke.
Pharmacy.
Hospitals database, yeah. Pharmacy. Okay. What else?
Doctors.
Doctors.
Equipments they use.
Equipments. Okay. I'm just putting DB just, to bring the business context. Okay. What else? Anything else we talked? Okay, cool. So let's talk about the nature of the data here. Okay. So hospitals, is it like business data or individual or consumer data?
Business data.
Business. Okay. Patient.
Consumer.
I'll call it as individual. Okay. Individual. Pharmacy.
Business.
Okay. Doctors, individuals. Equipments. Again, like I don't
Should be
want to go.
business.
Yeah, it is part of the business, but equipments, we will talk about equipments quickly. Okay. Okay. Now hospitals and pharmacy are like, where Apollo Hospitals wants to store in account. Okay. Now I want to use accounts to store this database, store in Salesforce account. I'll use this to store contact object. Okay. Equipment, let's call it as it is product. Okay, we'll store it in product. I'll come to that. I don't want to confuse you guys. So we are now, what we are doing is we are taking two set of data and we are trying to store it in one object. Okay. Let me dig one step deeper. Okay, let's understand what are the attributes of hospital. Okay, what are the information that we store in hospital? Apollo Hospitals, I'm taking that example. Okay. Now tell me what sort of, sorry?
Hospital name
Hospital name, okay.
and location.
Location, okay.
Doctor counts, nurse count.
Doctors count, okay. Can I
Nurses
say,
count.
okay, nurse count, okay. Okay, so let's say this is for hospital, right? We use this for hospital. Let's talk about pharmacy. What information we store?
Medicine name.
Pharmacies. Medicines would be here. Pharmacy is a business entity, right? Like Nellai Pharmacy, Chennai Pharmacy, Muthu Pharmacy, Apollo Pharmacy. It is a store. Like hospital is a building, again, pharmacy is a building.
So name, location, and count of the employees.
Okay, name, location, and employees count.
Owner.
Perfect. Owner. Okay. So, okay. So when we, okay. So in an object, Okay. So when we use record type is to differentiate an object, like the records, by some parameters. We use record types. Okay. Within the object, if I want to differentiate the records, then we use record type. If we don't want to differentiate the records, there is no need for record types. Okay. Now what we are saying is accounts is something that we use for tracking the business entities. Okay. Since my hospital, pharmacy are business entities, we are going to use record types to differentiate, hey, this is a hospital, this is a pharmacy. I'll put more example, like, if I want to say clinic, right? Again, I have name, location, and uh, doctors count, open hours, holidays, etc. Right? So now open hours, holidays are applicable for my pharmacy hospital also, right? Why I have to create 3 different objects to store almost same set of information? So that's where we use one object where there are like slight property differences. If I go with this information, so these two are unique. Nurse count, I will cut and paste here. Open hours, holidays are applicable for all of this. As you can see, now hospital has 3, 4, 5 fields common. All of these 3 objects have 5 fields common, right? So record types is a concept used to differentiate the records in same object. Okay, let's go ahead, create, like we have name, location, doctor count, open hours, holidays. Okay. I'll go back to account. Now record type. Before that, I just want to confirm what are all the fields that are there. We have employees, number of employees is there. Let's make use of this field for the employees count. I'll put count here. Number of employees, we'll use it here. For name, we use the account name, which is standard field. Location, do we have a location field in standard? There is no location. No. We used to have billing address. Let's use billing address for location. So I'm trying to do the mapping here. Okay. What is my existing data source? From this data source, what are the attributes, and trying to map it to Salesforce object. Okay. So as a developer, we usually do this. Whenever we create a new object, we try to understand the existing data and do the analysis and then create the object in the platform. Okay. Now doctors count, I don't have anything. So we can create a custom field for it. And so we have something called number of locations, which is, these are like custom fields I created for some other, some other time. Okay. We have type, website, year started. Okay. So there are no open hours, holidays. Owner is already there. ID. Nurse count is not there. So let's create 3 plus 1, 4 field. Okay. I want to create 4 fields for in account. Doctors count, open hours, holidays. Holidays I will ignore because I don't have time. Okay, open hours, doctors count I will create, and nurse count. 3 fields I will create now. New. What is doctors count? Field type.
Number.
Thank you.
Number, sir.
Doctors count. Okay. I'll put 3. Okay. Even though I'm so lazy, I don't want to skip providing description. Okay. making it visible for everyone. Put it in the page layout. What is the other field that we have to create?
Open hours.
Okay, I will go for pick list to pick the open hours. Okay, pick list. Okay, I'll say 24 hours into 9 into 12. Okay, just giving this example. Restrict, don't restrict. Description. Hours when the facility will be open for visiting. Okay, next. Make it visible to all. Next, save. New. What is the last one?
Nurse count.
Nurse count. Okay. Okay. I'll create the nurse count field. Number. Next. Nurse count. Number of nurses in the hospital / clinic. Okay, so I've added all the fields. Okay, now let's go to the record types. Okay, I'm creating a new record type called hospital. Description. Facility of type hospital. Okay, I'm making it available for all users. All profile by default. Save a new. Now I'm creating account layout. Save a new. Now I'm creating another record type called pharmacy. Okay, I create pharmacy. Facility of type pharmacy. Yeah, make it active, make available. I don't want to make it default. Account layout. Okay, I'll choose account layout now. Okay, great. Record types. Now I have two record types, hospital, pharmacy. Okay. If I want to see the records, I go to accounts tab. All accounts. So these are all the current accounts in the system. Okay. It doesn't sound anything like hospital or pharmacy, right? Let's do a filter. Okay. I'll say add filter. Let me do a refresh so that the record type fields will come. Okay. So a record type is a special feature where we use it to differentiate records in the object. Okay. So I'm just trying to create some filter. And I'll create a new list view. Let's call it as hospitals. All users can see all accounts. Let me go with the record type. What is the record type? Account record type, sorry. Hospital. Done. Save. Right now, I don't have any hospitals at all. Okay, let us create a new hospital. Okay, so system is asking, hey, what type of record you are going to create, hospital or pharmacy? I'll say hospital. Okay, account name. Follow hospital. Is Apollo there internally? Guys?
No, sir.
Okay.
Pharmacy.
Okay. I'll just say Nungambakam Apollo Hospital. And I have so many standard fields in the page layout. I'll just give doctors count. There are like 90 doctors. There are like 120 nurses. Open hours 24. Building city Chennai. Street Greens Road. Building country India. Save. So now I have one hospital. I can do a filter. I can see one hospital. Okay. Let's do one pharmacy. Okay. I'm creating a pharmacy. Let's call it as which area we have the pharmacy?
So we have a pharmacy in Srivagundam, Apollo Pharmacy.
Okay. Okay. Let's say, what about the employees count? Number of location. Employees. Let's say there are 3 people working. City. Srivai. The India state. Tamil Nadu. Okay. Open hours. Let's say it open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Say. Okay. Now I go to accounts. I see the hospitals. I see only Nungambakam Apollo Hospital. Let me create a new list view for pharmacies. Okay. I'll use a scan see. Putting a filter. All. Add. Account record type equals pharmacy. Done. Save. So now this pharmacy, right? This, I don't want to see the account side, all of these. Let's choose fields more relevant to pharmacy. Okay. What are the fields that are relevant for pharmacy? Employees. So number of employees working, what are the open hours? I'll just save this. So now pharmacies like this, like, we can add data, but all the information are stored in account. So I go for all accounts, all my information are stored in accounts, but like, there are little variations. So when I go to pharmacies, I see only the employees, what is the state that it is in, what is the open hours. If I go back to hospitals, here I can choose what fields I want to see. Hospitals, let's remove all of these. We have doctors count. We have nurses count, open hours, and we have billing address. Billing city, state, and country. Okay. So, record types are used in multiple ways. Okay. I'll show one example now. So this is what we see in the accounts. So record types are used to differentiate records in the object. Okay. You could very well create separate object for hospital, separate object for pharmacy. Okay. It just adds more objects in the system. like, sometimes this way of using the object efficiently helps. Okay. Now, when I want to add a new hospital, right? Now I'm adding I'm seeing this many fields. Let's see how we can uh, change this view using record type. Okay. Let's go back to the object manager, go to account. We have something called page layout. Okay. So remember yesterday we talked about MVC, model, view, controller. This is the view part. Okay. Now Salesforce provides multiple ways of handling the view part. One such is page layout. Okay. I'm creating a page layout. There is account page layout, account marketing layout, sales layout, support layout. There are multiple layouts. Let me create a layout for hospital. I'll copy from account. Let's call it as hospital layout. Next. Okay, now I don't want any of these fields. So parent account. Okay, account owner, rating, phone, fax, website, ticker, employees. Okay, annual revenue. Okay. Shipping address, I don't want. I don't want this section altogether. I don't want this. I don't want this. Okay, related. I don't want this. I don't want partners. Okay. So I'm creating a layout called hospital layout. Okay. And in the page layout assignment, I can choose what layout to apply for which record type. Okay. Now for hospital, okay, I don't want to use account layout. I want to use hospital layout for hospital record type. I made the change in the layout assignment. Saved. It is saved now. Okay. If I go back here, I do a hard refresh. When I do new account, if I choose hospital, the page is not refreshed. Just give me a moment. Layout is modified. I use clicks to refresh. So I'm choosing new hospital next. Okay. As you guys can see, the page layout got changed. I'm not seeing SLA, I'm not seeing revenue, I'm not seeing all the other fields that I used to see in the account layout. Now I have only few fields like Nungambakam. Let me add something like up low new. That's okay. There are like 60 doctors. It is open 24 hours. There are like 80 nurses. Spelling city is again Chennai. This is like Pedi Road, country India, state Tamil Nadu. Now I see the information which I want to see in the hospitals, right? I don't no longer see different or unwanted fields, right? So using record types, you can do certain page layout assignments. That is one example, right? And I'll just quickly show, we'll create another record type. So we have record type, right? For pharmacy, I can create another layout assigned to pharmacy. And whenever I create pharmacy, I can choose what fields I want the users to enter. So far, does it make sense? Objects, record types, fields. Mahesh, does it make sense?
Yeah.
Shiva Reddy?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, that is good. Kishore Kumar, is it all good so far? Understanding okay?
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Imran?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Either all good? Okay, great. Okay, so now we have defined objects, right? So for that object definition, we need to understand how the data is organized. Once you understand how the data is organized, we can transform that into a data model in Salesforce. Okay, let's talk about relationships. Okay, we just saw insurance company, correct? Now, as part of this insurance company, there would be few people working in that company, right? Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, this relationship, right? Like, there are people working in LIC. Let's talk about LIC. Okay. Let's say we have employees. Okay. The name, I would not say employees. I would say like, point of contacts or insurance. Okay. So contact name, contact phone, contact email. Okay. So basically, like, how insurance, like, generally they have like, regional managers, they have like, uh, vice presidents, they have like, CEO, CIO, all such stuff. Okay. Let's pick few like, employees in LIC. Okay. Sachin, I'll go for this phone number 9789087980123 Sachin at lic.test. Okay. And we have Dravid 97879901235. Dravid at test. Okay. Now, what we are saying is in LIC company, we have two contacts, right? Now, these contact information can be stored in contact object. Okay. And this contact can be related to the insurance companies. Okay. I'll take LIC. There is something called related. Okay. There are currently no related items in this. Uh, okay. In the layout. Okay. Let's see, now I want to add a new contact from here. This is not correct. I'll just go back to insurance company, page layouts. Related list. We have related contact. I don't know what is it that. Okay. So I want to relate contact with insurance company. Okay. There are different contact types that exist. Okay. So we talk about like, master detailed relationship. 1 second, guys. Okay. So Yes. Okay. Now there are like, three types of relationship exist. One is Dinesh, can you tell me what are the relationship exist in Salesforce admin certified?
Master detail relationship, lookup,
Okay.
lookup relationship,
Okay. Anything else?
and external lookup,
Oh, fine.
indirect lookup.
Wow. I don't know about this. Okay. Anything else there or we're good?
Enough, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Dinesh. Okay. So in Salesforce, we have like, these many relationships that exist. Okay. So master detail, like, it is a special relationship between two objects where the detailed records won't exist without master. Okay. I'll go for some examples. Like, if I say here, it's just take hospital. Okay. We'll take pharmacy, hospital spelling mistake. Okay. Hospital will have doctors. We'll have clinics. Okay. So if I have doctors in the system, a doctor can work in a hospital and a doctor can work in a clinic. You guys agree?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here we cannot define a master detailed relationship between hospital and doctors because a doctor can exist without like, hospital or clinic. Okay. So let's talk about pharmacy. Okay. We have employees there. Okay. So here we can establish like, master detailed relationship between pharmacy and employees. Okay. The reason being, uh, like we are going to add employees who are working on that pharmacy. Right? Here, master detailed relationship can be set where pharmacy becomes master and the employee becomes child or detailed. So I cannot have employees without the pharmacy. And employees is not a right term, I would say. Pharmacy employees. This would make more sense for master detail. Okay. So a record cannot exist without the master. Okay. Let's say we have T20 World Cup. Okay. T20. Okay. Tournament match. Okay. So between tournament and match, what sort of relationship would like is master detail required for tournament and match? Cricket tournament, cricket match is master detail required. Football tournament, football match. Kishore Kumar. Do I need master detail for this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, like, you can play a match without a tournament, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So master detail is not required. Okay. But you can still set it up. Like, if you set up master detail in this, what happens is your system, if you want to set up a match, it will ask, hey, I need a tournament in order for the match to exist in the system, right? If you don't set up that master detail, then you can just create a match and you can like, process it in the system. Okay. So it depends on the data, structures, how the data is organized, we choose what relationship to use. Okay. So generally we have Okay, in our example, let's come back here. So we had LIC, and these are the contacts in LIC. If I want to make this master detail, I go to the contact, I create new field. Okay, I cannot create a master detail relationship on a child record. Okay. Let's see, is there any employees? There are no employees. I want to store employees in contacts, and I want to add a master detailed relationship here. I cannot do that. We cannot create master detailed relationship in standard object. Okay. What else example that I can go for? Okay, let's do something called branches. Okay, a branch cannot exist without a parent company. Okay. I'll go for insurance company. Fields, new. I'll create master detail relationship. Look up to insurance. Dinesh, how do I create self lookup? Okay, that is lookup relationship. Yeah.
Self lookup is not available in this object, sir. Actually, account have a self lookup.
Only account have self lookup. Like we generally do the lookup relationship that will point to the same object. Insurance company. So this is self lookup. Okay. Master detail. Okay, contact I cannot use. What else I can use? Okay. Pharmacy employees. I don't have that object. I have to create object. Hospital, doctors, clinics. Master detail. In hospital management, what can come under master detail? One record cannot exist without another record. Let's take equipments. Okay. Here we can make use of the master detail relationship. I'll go back to object manager. We have something called assets. This is a standard object provided by Salesforce. Okay. If I look into the asset, there is a master detail relationship with the product. Please say there is a product. It's just a lookup only. Okay. I can create a master detail. I cannot create master detail. That's weird. Okay. Okay. I'll just create one object to explain the master detail relationship. Okay. Let me create an object called pharmacy employees. Employees. Store the employees. We call it as employee ID. So this record name, right? This is a standard name field. Whenever we create a custom object, this field has to be created. And there are two types of data type we can use. One is text, another one is auto number. Earlier, we used text for the insurance company. I will choose auto number for this pharmacy employees. Okay, I have given employee ID as the name field, and I have given auto number. What is the format that I have to choose? I'll choose pharmacy employee hyphen. This is the format, starting number is 1. Okay. So I'll have search. Okay. Now I created a new field where the name is storing a employee ID, which is an auto number. Okay. I'll just create the first name, email, and phone number, or like what else we stored here. Name, point of contact name, phone, email. Text field where I store the name. Length, I'll give 60 characters. Name of the employee. Okay, I will say this is a required field. Next, save a new. I'll choose phone, mobile number, contact number of the employee. I would say it is also required. Save a new. I'll create an email field. Email address is communication. That's it is not required. Okay, say next. Visible to all users. Next, save it to the page layout. Save. Okay, now I created 4 fields, which is to store the information. We'll add a master detail relationship. So it's a new field where we choose the relationship as master detail. Okay. It creates parent-child relationship. I would let you guys read through this. These are like some conditions to be followed. Okay. So the relationship field is required for all detail record. Without master record, detail can never exist. Okay. Master access permissions are shared with the child. Okay. When you delete a master record, all the child records get deleted. You can create roll-up summary fields. Next. What should be the parent field for pharmacy employees? Which object should I choose here?
Account.
Okay, thank you. So here I'm making this field label as pharmacy. Okay. See in which the employee is working. Okay. So this is the child relationship name. Okay, here we are giving permission. I'll talk about the permission later. Can it be reparented? Yes, it can be reparented. Pharmacy employees. I don't have a pharmacy layout. I'll tag it only to the account layout. Save. Okay. So now if I go to account, I go to pharmacies. Inside the pharmacy, Under related, I should have pharmacy employees. I can create a pharmacy employee record here. I'll say Sachin, mobile number 97034, Sachin at pharmacy.best. So here, if you guys notice, like, it's a star red is given. Star red means it is mandatory to, or it is a required field. Like we made employee name required, we made mobile number required, and we made pharmacy required. The employee ID is auto number. It will be generated after we save the record. Okay. Without pharmacy, it won't let us save the record. It will throw an error. Okay. I'm choosing a pharmacy. Now there is a pharmacy record. So this is the ID that is auto generated by the system. This is the data that we entered. Okay. So this record can exist only when the parent record exists. If there is no parent, the child cannot exist at all. This type of relationship is called master detail relationship. So whenever we do analysis in any of the data sources, we have to understand how they are related, whether they go for master detail or they go for lookup. Lookup is a loose version of the relationship where, like, we relate two objects where they can exist, like, without dependencies. Okay. We do have another object relationship called junction. Is it junction object or junction relationship, Dinesh?
Junction object or relationship in function. The hierarchy relationship is available, self lookup.
So we do have hierarchy.
Self lookup.
This is hierarchy / self lookup, right? It is the same.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Let's talk about that as well. Okay. So lookup is again special relationship which relates two objects. Okay. I'll go to pharmacy employee I have given. Okay. Let's talk about, yeah. Okay. So I have a pharmacy, Sri Vaikuntham Apollo Pharmacy. Okay. Let's assume that I have, district information stored in an object. Okay. Or like I'll say I'll store, district information stored in an object. In that case, if I have the pharmacy, I can store district, and I can store this district as a lookup in pharmacy. Okay. So that way, these two objects can be related, and, like, via looking at the district, I can see what are all the pharmacies exist in the district. When I look at the pharmacy, I know which district it belongs to. Okay. The lookup pharmacy is used for one-to-many relationships, or one-to-many relationship. One pharmacy can exist in one district. One district can have multiple pharmacies. Okay. To okay, even master detail has the same. One master can have multiple details. Okay. So all this relationship has one to many relationship. Master detail, lookup, both have one to many. Okay. Many to many relationship is what is we establish using junction. We will see that example. So lookup is similar to master detail. The only difference is you don't need to have master detail record. Child record can exist without master. That's when we choose lookup relationship. Okay. You can build a lookup relationship to standard objects. In standard objects also, we can build lookup relationships. But in standard objects, we cannot build a master detail relationship. Okay. So we'll, I will let you guys go through the, challenges or, the constraints on the relationship. But I want to give an overview of what relationship exists. Okay. I'll come back here. So we have master detail, lookup. They both are parent child. Child, which is one to many. Parent child, one to many. This junction is for many to many. Okay. Let's see one quick example for junction. Okay. So we talked about tournament and match, right? Okay. So we have something called, you can store the information of the teams which are participating in the tournament. Okay. And match is a junction between teams. Okay. So two teams can participate in a match, right? So we can create a junction relationship of called match, and two teams can participate in that. Okay. So match becomes junction. So if I say, let's put some teams and we have some matches. Okay. All right. I would let you guys take that as an homework and come back with some junction, scenarios. Okay. In tomorrow, we will review the junction objects. Okay. And we will talk more about other relationship types and what are the notations we need to follow in data model. Okay. We are overrun by 6 minutes anyway. I'll stop here. Okay. So I just want to do a quick recap before I let you guys sleep. So we talked about the data model. Okay. We talked about the objects, standard objects, custom objects. We talked about big object. Talked about custom settings, custom metadata. We talked about the primary memory type, secondary memory type, and we talked about fields. We talked about page layout. We talked about record types. Okay. Finally, we talked about master detail and lookup. Tomorrow, we will continue on junction. Okay. The key thing that I want you guys to remember is this memory. Okay. You need to know when to use what object type. You cannot just like that define or use different object for different purposes. Okay. You need to understand what sort of data you are storing and which place you can store it better. Okay. Don't store large volume of data in custom settings or custom metadata. Store only minimal data, which is frequently needed. Frequently accessed data, store it here. Okay. And store all the other reference data here in standard object custom objects. Store less frequently accessed data in big objects. Okay. This is very critical. I want you guys to remember this. Okay. Cool. I'll stop here. If you guys have questions, let me know. Put it in the chat. Yesterday, nobody had questions. Surprised? Imran, any questions from your teammates?